Just the wing has a winglet. Anybody knows what the winglet is? The winglet of the airplane is the one that was like this. If it's the new airplane, they have, like at the end of their wing, they have something that's tipping up. It's called the winglet. And there's a lot of engineering behind those. Tell them about your aspiration. Where do you want to go? In your company, what you want to become in the next 2 to 3 years to 5 years. You know, it's not like I'm pretty sure when you go to interview, even at McDonald's, you say, okay, what do you want to do in your life? Yeah, I just want to get $6 an hour. I'm done. You know, I don't think they're gonna accept you. They want to see how you want to become the next 2 to 3 years. How can you contribute to the company, right? Even to this, maybe to the restaurant. Maybe you think it's small, but how do you think you want to become the next store manager or regional manager, for example, right? So you need to understand about your success story, your passion, and your aspirations, okay? Basically, this is the past. This is what's always going on. This is the future, okay? It always talks about those things, past, present, and the future. And when you when you convey your testimony in your personal statement, make sure it structures well, okay? I'll give you all the tips. First, you have to give the best impression that you have. So when you come to your interview, you have to dress up nicely, right? Don't be like with your, especially in Indonesian, you know, it's like short pants and sandals, right? They come, hey, what's up, man? You know, those things doesn't work. They'll probably talk to you, but they will immediately say, they know that they're going to reject you for the job, right? So always give your first impressions, and same thing in your paper. When you write up your paper, I think it's about 2 pages, right? The first page or even the first paragraph is very important. Basically, when they have to screen about 10,000 paper, they'll probably read the first 2 paragraphs. And if they feel bored and they feel like you're not going anywhere with your paper, you know what? They're gonna toss it away. Okay? Second, when you are describing yourself about your success story, passion, aspirations, make sure that you have details on them, but don't be saturated. For example, when you have a success story, how you overcome resolving issues at your projects. It's like, that guy is so lazy, he just keep talking on the phone, he's like keep calling his girlfriend. No, those are saturated details. Okay, tell them about what the situation is, tell them about what's going on, what needs to be done, okay, what's happened to the other guy, and how you'll be able to resolve the problem. Okay, all those garbage, quote unquote garbage, you don't have to put them in, okay? Make sure you have enough details, but don't be saturated, because people will get bored with those girlfriend stuff, love, fall in love, whatever, okay? Third, make sure that the key point is explicitly stated. Meaning what? If you overcome something, make sure that the accomplishment is explicitly stated. Meaning, hey, I work in this project, and this project resulted in 10 minutes savings of whatever. You know, people save money by implementing this project or this new process. Make sure that those kind of accomplishment is explicitly stated. Okay? Don't underestimate that people typically only look for those key points. What is the accomplishment of your effort? The last one, be bold. Okay? Don't be shy. This is happening to a lot of Indonesians. They tend to be shy. They don't want to say, oh, I finished doing this, I accomplished this thing. But you have to say that I accomplished this thing, but don't be arrogant. Okay? There's a fine balancing about be bold, but don't be arrogant. Okay? Gotta remember those 4. Next. The last one, I think, yeah, is do your homework. Go figure out about university itself. I think you know about what's a good university, what's the best university, but what I'm trying to talk about here is the next one, is how you would score your next school. Okay, sometimes people like MIT because of the name, for example, right? Some people like to go to Stanford because their campus is so nice. But in order for you to be more objective about where you want to go, I would suggest you do a weighing system. So you put all these categories that I'm going to show about, let's say if you put names more heavily, put it more heavily over there. If you put programs as a secondary, put however value that you think is better. Then you should try to objectively measure and give scores to all the schools. And I think that by doing that, you'll be able to figure out that, hey, this school A, B, and C will be the best school for me. All right. So what are those factors? I will list some of them, but they're not limited to that. First, locations, right? We're so spoiled that we live in California where we don't have hurricanes, we don't have humidity over here. We tends to be like between 50 to 100, but that's about it. Never get snow, never get too hot, never get any storm or anything. So we're spoiled, right? So you want to go to MIT, you have to figure out that there's snow over there, you know. So you got to figure out, you know, your place to live. Do you like snow? Do you like dealing with snow every morning when you have to go to school at 8 o'clock and then you know that your car is basically piled with snow? 4 feet of snow, you know, would you be able to handle that? The weather, I was talking about transportation systems, right? We have BART here, it's pretty convenient. We have bus over here, pretty convenient as well. Some people, some places, they don't have, LA for example, they don't have a good public transportation. You have to have a car in LA. Think about that, locations. Second, money, right? What you need to think about, I think most of you are maybe international students, tuition fees. You know, Stanford, UC Berkeley, I think goes really high. I believe they're like $18,000 a semester. So it's very expensive. Some of you maybe in a resident, I think you have to pay about $10,000. So think about that. San Luis Obispo probably about only 4 grand, 5 grand, half the price. Financial aid program, for example, you know, can you get any scholarship if you do well in your school? Can you get any grant, for example? Can you work in the university where the professor can help you pay for your tuitions and all that stuff? The loan program, right? This is something you want to do. Make sure they have a good loan program. Do they charge you interest to begin with? Do they let you borrow until you finish and then they start the loan program with the interest and all that stuff? That's something that you have to figure out. Okay, it's all about the money. Because one thing that I know, like there's so many people that was hurting right now with the economy like this. One of the reasons why is because they have a really big school loan. For example, a lot of people that I know in the law major, they're doing like in the lawyer stuff, and maybe also people that was in a nursing program. Actually, their school typically costs about $300,000, $300,000 to $400,000, depending on the school. And usually they cannot pay those jobs and those loans right off the job because they cannot find any jobs. So think about, would you rather to graduate from your school having $400,000 burning as a burden on your shoulder, or would you rather to have something like maybe $100,000, you know, in your whatever that you have to pay? So think about that, because I can see that there's a lot of people that basically regrets going to some of these big name schools because some of the times they have to spend about 15 to 20 years of their life to pay those back. So think about that too, right? Next. Academic programs. The school itself will have their own academic programs. We're talking about who's who, right? Who's the faculty? What are they good at? What are the stuff that they make famous? I don't know. There's a lot of good professor that is in UC Berkeley. One of my professors actually created the biggest telescope. I think it's in Arizona. It's part of those Area 51 stuff. Basically, the diameter of the lens, the objective lens, is actually the size of the Boeing 747. So that's how big the lens is. And he's working there day in, day out to basically be able to control the direction, the angle of the telescope, such that they can actually move these bigger things, and then get better image for their stuff. I'm not sure where it is. It's totally highly classified, but he only told me that's what he's working on. Where's where? You know, where's where means where do the graduate goes after that? Do they really get out transfer to another master's program, or do they get out and then get a job? Each school, typically if you look at the ranking stuff, they typically tell you about how many % of their students or their graduates get a job, how many of them continue to be in the graduate program.